Hey guys, it's Kingdom Orange 2 here, and welcome back to my channel. As a teenager, I was always fascinated with Greek mythology, and lately I've found myself watching a lot of Greek mythology videos on YouTube. Now, a lot of characters from Greek mythology feature heavily in Monster High, and with today's video, I wanted to teach you guys more about the myths and compare their stories to how they're portrayed in the franchise. There are a couple things to point out before we go on. First of all, Greek mythology doesn't have one sacred text. It is a collection of myths from various authors and sources. This means that while I try to give you the most popular or agreed upon version of a myth, no one true version exists. Second, I always try to keep this channel appropriate for all ages. Greek myths tend to contain stories that aren't really suitable for all audiences, so what I decided to do was either omit certain parts of the story or include them but make them as least graphic as I could. With that being said, Monster High features around 12 different kinds of figures directly from Greek mythology. I've also decided to include chapters if you guys would like to skip around. So the first characters from Greek mythology we're going to talk about today are the Gorgons. The Gorgons were said to be hideous monsters who had sharp fangs, large wings, snakes for hair, and could turn anyone into stone with their gaze. The two eldest sisters, Steno and Eurale, were immortal, while the youngest, Medusa, wasn't. According to the legend, Perseus was ordered to slay Medusa by King Polydectes of Seriphus and return with her head. With the aid of many gifts from the gods, Perseus was able to slay Medusa by looking at her reflection through a mirror shield given to him by Athena. In the Monster High universe, Medusa is still very much alive and has one son, Deus Gorgon. Like Medusa, he has the ability to turn people into stone, but his effects aren't permanent and last only around 24 hours. It is mentioned in Deus' profile that he has a pet rat named Perseus who was named after a Greek warrior his mother used to know, but she didn't find it funny. What exactly this means was never explained in detail though. His cousin Viperine Gorgon is the daughter of Steno. For some reason, they made Viperine Gorgon from Spain and she has get-togethers with her family on Petrus Island in Greece. Now in her diary, she does mention that she, along with most Gorgons besides Medusa and Deus, can't turn anyone into stone, and that she only wears sunglasses because they are fashionable. This implies that the Gorgons, rather than being unique monsters, are a species, and that also probably explains why there was a Create a Monster Gorgon Girl released in 2012. Circe. So giving Circe a specific title is a little difficult. I've seen her described as a goddess, an enchantress, a witch, and even a nymph in some places. Technically, she is a witch. She was known for having a vast knowledge of herbs and potions, and did carry around a magic staff or a wand. The thing is though, ancient Greece didn't really have a concept of witchcraft, so performing magic was usually seen as something only gods could do. Circe is most popular for her role in Homer's Odyssey. In this story, Odysseus and his crew encounter her on the island of Aea, in which, having prepared a feast for them, transforms his men into pigs. Circe does agree to change them back, however, and Odysseus ends up staying on the island with her for about a year. Now, Circe actually appears in the Monster High universe. She, like her daughter Casta Fierce, has green skin, which is obviously inspired by the Wicked Witch of the West's green skin in the movie The Wizard of Oz. Like her mother, Casta is able to transform people into animals, but she does so accidentally when she messes up her lyrics to her song. Arachne. Arachne was a young shepherd's daughter who claimed that she could weave better than the goddess Athena. Hearing this, Athena decided to challenge her to a competition. While Athena weaved a tapestry depicting her triumph over the god Poseidon, Arachne's tapestry depicted ways in which the gods tricked and misled mortals. Obviously very insulted by this, Athena decided to rip apart Arachne's tapestry and beat her on the head. And this really ashamed and embarrassed Arachne, and she ended up hanging herself, but Athena took pity on her and decided to transform her into the world's first spider. So this story is actually where we get words like arachnophobia, which is the fear of spiders. Wedona's spider is the daughter of Arachne and Monster High. Instead of being a spider, she seems to be some sort of were-spider that's very good at multitasking. It is also mentioned in her diary that Wedona and her mother speak Arachnean, which heavily implies that they are part of a greater species of spider people. Eros. Eros, the Greek god of love, was the son of Aphrodite and Ares, and was usually depicted in ancient Greek as either a winged child or a young man. Known as a mischief, he possessed two arrows. One with a gold point that could make anyone fall in love, and one with a lead point, which made people feel adverse to others. His most popular myth tells the story of how he fell in love with a mortal princess named Psyche, who later becomes his wife and a goddess. The reason as to why many people think of Eros or his Roman equivalent of Cupid as a baby is a little confusing to explain. During the Renaissance, paintings portraying scenes from Greek mythology as well as the Bible were very popular. Characters who were winged male babies called putti were created. Cupid's appearance during this time was also of a winged baby, so many people began to conflate the two together. And adding further to this confusion, many people began to refer to these babies as cherubs, which are types of angels in the Hebrew Bible with multiple wings, eyes, and heads. In the Monster High universe, Eros has a daughter named Cupid. Like her father, she is shown to have wings and also possess a magical bow and arrows. In an interview with the Gory Gazette, it is revealed that she isn't the biological daughter of Eros, but was left on the doorstep of his temple many years ago. Eros decided to adopt her, gifting her wings and teaching her the family business. Now, one would assume Eros turned her into a goddess, as she claims to be as old as teenage love. However, when asked what type of monster she was, she says she's a type of elemental, but not sure what kind. What type of elemental is uncertain, as Cupid doesn't have power over water, fire, or air. In the Ever After High webisodes, she was later described to be a cherub, so I'm guessing it's safe to say that she's just some sort of immortal being, but what kind, nobody really knows. Sirens. The Sirens were said to be dangerous creatures who use their enchanting voices to lure sailors to their death. Living on 3 small islands called the Ceryneian Scopoli, they were encountered by famous Greek heroines such as Jason and Odysseus, who were able to bypass the sirens by drowning out their voices with Orpheus's harp, as well as tying themselves to the mast and having their crews cover their ears with beeswax. Originally, sirens were depicted in ancient Greek artwork as being half woman, half bird. One story explains how they were given wings by the goddess Demeter to aid them in finding her lost daughter Persephone in the underworld. During the Middle Ages, drawings of sirens began to become more fish-like in appearance. Attributes that Homer used to describe sirens, such as enticement of men and their beautiful song, became synonymous with mermaids. What also doesn't help is that while in English we have the word mermaid and siren to distinguish the two creatures, in many European languages there is just one word, sirena. One character, a mermaid named Serena Von Boo, is obviously a play on the name Serena, but also confirms the point that most people get the creatures confused. So while they don't appear in the cartoons or movies, there are 3 characters in the greater Monster High universe which are technically sirens. What's strange though is that while they are all the same species, they are all portrayed differently. The first is Melody Carver, the protagonist from the Monster High series by Lacey Harrison. She discovered she was a siren after feathers started growing out of her hair and she gained a singing voice that allowed her to control others. Madison Fear, the Monster High version of Madison Beer, is also a siren. She seems to be more amphibian-like and uses her voice to guide people to safety. Finally, there was a Create a Monster add-on pack of a siren. She resembled more of what a mermaid looks like in the Monster High universe, such as having a tail as well as fins on her arms and hands. Harpies. Just like sirens, harpies are depicted as being half women, half bird creatures, but while sirens were seen as beautiful enchantresses, harpies were described as ugly and smelly. According to one story, King Phineus of Thrace was punished by Zeus for giving away the god's secret plan. He was blinded and placed on an island with a buffet of food he would never be able to eat because harpies would come down and snatch it out of his hand. Quilla Talentino, also known as Harper, is the daughter of a harpy. Instead of having the body of a bird and the face of a woman, she is more of a bird-like human with hands and wings on her back, as well as feathers in her hair and on her face. Avia Trotter, who is half harpy, has similar wings, feathers around her hooves, arms, and wrists, as well as winged eyelashes. Years later, there was also a Create a Monster add-on pack of a harpy. Just like Quill, she was more of a bird-like woman, but instead of having wings on her back, they were located on her arms. She also had feathered legs and 3 toes similar to a bird's feet. Cyclopes. Cyclopes are giant monsters with a single eye located in the middle of their forehead. Greek mythology tends to distinguish between 3 separate groups of Cyclopes. The first were sons of Uranus and Gaia, who after being imprisoned in Tartarus were later freed by Zeus and helped the gods fashion many of their famous weapons, like the thunderbolt and the trident. The second group of Cyclopes were described in the Odyssey. In this story, they were uncivilized shepherds who lived in caves and were the sons of Poseidon. Odysseus accidentally gets trapped in the Cyclops Polyhemus's cave and escapes by stabbing him in his eye. The third group of Cyclopes share several similarities with the first group of Cyclopes, but were also builders of the so-called Cyclopean walls of Mycenae, Tiryns, and Argos. At Monster High, all Cyclopes served as background characters before they were given official names. They also tend to vary in their appearances such as height, skin color, and ear shape. Iris Clops was officially introduced in 2014 along with Minotaur in a 2-pack, but beforehand her character design would often be recolored and used for other backgrounders as well as for students from other schools. Cyclopes is also a son of a Cyclops. He's a lot taller than most students at Monster High and is a member of the basketball team. While he and Iris do share a last name, I doubt they were meant to be related. There was also a Triclops backgrounder who was given a Create a Monster add-on pack in 2011. While not featured in Greek mythology, I did find some images of Cyclopes with 3 eyes. The Hydra. The Hydra is a snake-like beast with multiple heads who guarded the Lake of Lerna, said to be the entrance to the underworld. Its breath was so poisonous that even the pure scent of it could kill, and its heads were able to regenerate when chopped off. Heracles, for one of his 12 labors, was tasked with killing the Hydra. He covered his mouth and nose from the Hydra's poisonous fumes, and with the help of his nephew was able to cut off the heads and stop new ones from sprouting by burying the Hydra's one immortal head deep within the earth. In the Monster High universe, Pearl and Perry Serpentine are the daughters of the Hydra. Instead of having many heads, the Hydra only has 2, and they are depicted as being more human-like in appearance. They also seem to reside underwater rather than on land. Nymphs. In Greek mythology, nymphs are depicted as young female nature spirits who are typically bound to a specific area or environment. They are usually the daughters of important nature gods, as well as the mother of famous Grecian heroes and kings. There are many different kinds of nymphs, from ocean nymphs to woodland nymphs to even nymphs that dwell in the underworld or in the sky. Nymphs also aren't technically immortal, but do live longer lifespans than humans. In the Monster High universe, the types of nymphs a given character is are left unanswered, and unlike in Greek mythology, they tend to be less human-like and blend in more with their surroundings. Laguna Blue is the daughter of a sea monster and an ocean nymph. What type of sea monster is unknown, but it is explained in her School's Out diary that her mother is an ocean nymph who can travel on land but can't leave her grotto too long or she will become weak. While not appearing in the movie The Great Scarier Reef, she does appear in a flashback scene, as well as on artwork for the toy line Monster family. Laguna's mother is probably an Oceanid, or one of the 3,000 daughters of the titans Oceanus and Tathes. Posey Wreath is the daughter of Poseidon, the god of the seas. She watches over an underwater garden in which the souls of sea life are represented by flowers and other plants. While Posey claims to be a sea goddess, I thought she was probably more of a nymph based on her appearance and the fact that she tends gardens. She can't technically be an Oceanid because she isn't the daughter of Oceanus, or a Nereid, because she isn't the daughter of Nereus, which only leaves 2 options. She is either a goddess or maybe just a type of sea monster, because many gods did have children who are in fact mythological beasts, such as Poseidon being the father to Pegasus. Teresa Thornwillow, along with her sister Thorna Thornwillow, are both tree nymphs. They protect a magical garden and seem to be somewhat part of the trees. The sisters have the ability to move around the garden but are unable to leave. This explains as to why Thorna is given wings by Teresa in hopes that she can explore the world. Teresa and Thorna are probably dryads, which were said to be nymphs of the trees. The Minotaur. The Minotaur was a half-bull, half-man monster created by the union of Queen Pusiphae of Crete and a Snow White bull. As it grew in size, it became ferocious and difficult to control. Following the advice of the Oracle of Delphi, Pusiphae's husband, King Minos, created a labyrinth and trapped him inside. Having lost a war to the Cretans, King Aegeus of Athens was forced to send 7 Athenian men and women to be fed every 7 years to the Minotaur. Wanting to stop the horror, Aegeus' son Theseus volunteered to slay the beast. With the help of Minos' daughter Ariadne, Theseus was able to navigate the labyrinth and destroy the Minotaur. Now in the Monster High world, the Minotaurs are again a species rather than one monster, as Minotaur is shown wrestling with another monster in the episode Happy Holidays. Minotaur is also known to have a sister named Minotaur, who Frankie claims to disapprove of his bullying. There is also the opera star Crescenda von Hammerstone, who Operetta admires hopefully. Ceryneian Hind. Okay, so the story of the Ceryneian Hind is kind of pointless. Basically, the Ceryneian Hind was a deer with golden antlers who belonged to the goddess Artemis. She actually had 5 of them, one of which she purposely set free in the mountain so that Heracles could capture it and bring it to King Eurystheus of Mycenae to complete his 3rd labor. After chasing it for a whole year, Heracles was able to shoot it in the leg and present it to the king. But before the king could take the deer from him, it actually sprinted back to Artemis. Gilda Goldstag is the daughter of the Ceryneian Hind. She appears to be more of a deer-like woman who claims in her bio to be the living proof that golden hinds are extinct. This means that in the Monster High world, Ceryneian hinds are a species, but Gilda is probably one of the last of her kind. So finally, the last characters we're going to talk about from Greek mythology today are the Centaurs. Centaurs were creatures who had the upper body of a man and the legs of a horse. Most of them were actually brothers, and they were known for their wild and barbarous tendencies. One of the most famous centaurs, Chiron, was actually the mentor to many Greek heroes such as Achilles, Jason, Perseus, and even Heracles. He was actually the inspiration for Phil from the Disney movie Hercules. Monster High has both female and male centaurs. Avia Trotter is a daughter of both a harpy and a centaur. She has horse-like ears and her skin is blue. There are also the Frightmares who, like Avia, are hybrids. Now, the only male centaur who is shown is called Archer. While he has a more human-looking upper body than Avia and the Frightmares, in the webisodes he is unable to speak and just makes horse neighs. So what I've taken away from researching this video is that fiction is always going to be inconsistent. It doesn't matter if the author was able to cross-reference the internet or old books, people always change details to suit their plot. If you liked this video today and want to see more content in the future, make sure you hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Thank you guys so much for watching today, and I will see you soon. Bye!